Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Paul, the Canadian Snowman, here once again with another episode of Michael the Brave. Yeah, Mihai. Yes. Okay. What just happened last episode? uh, yes. Pretty much everything is kind of chill right now. Michael the Brave is just kind of, I guess, kind of getting his act together where he's at, and then you have Austria want to take over Transylvania. Transylvania is just kind of not that great, and they're kind of weak right now. That's why Austria kind of wants it for themselves. And then you got, my God, I can't remember the place to the top right, the place next to Transylvania. uh, they're kind of going through like leadership changes, and they were going to threaten Michael, but it looks like that's not going to happen. And the Ottoman Empire, they're doing good. They're making some leeway up in Austria, and looks like they're about to turn on Michael. I think so. I'm not quite sure. Kind of there's a lot going on. I'm trying to remember. But anyways, yeah, let's jump into this. This series kind of gives me, I don't know why, it just gives me like the 30 Years War vibes off it, just because there's like so many leaders that seem to be involved. It's not as complicated, as the 30 Years War. I mean, 30 Years War after the first episode or two, it wasn't complicated really at all. It just had a lot going on at first, and this one's not complicated. I don't find it complicated at all. But I don't know why I even brought it up, but it still gives me that kind of vibe. But anyways, we're going to jump right into this, guys. I hope you guys are enjoying this. And like I said, I still see a lot of, requests for Vlad. Is there like I think somebody said that History March has an episode of him, or is it a series? I don't know. I'll have to, probably won't check it out until after this series and see how long that is and all that good stuff. But we got a lot of stuff to do here first, people, before we start talking about Vlad. Like, we still got Michael the Brave. This is only the third part 3. Still got 2 more parts after this, man. We can't look too far ahead. But yeah, I guess let's jump into this. Please hit that like and subscribe below, people. Please and thank you. And yeah. Doo-doo-doo. Hope you guys are having a great day, but bam!
This video is brought to you by Skillshare.
Of course it is. Okay. Yeah, Skillshare, kind of help me out here. I'm sorry, I've noticed like every video is like sponsored by Skillshare on a bunch of different channels. Like, come on, Skillshare, come my way. Anyways, let's get to it.
It's late in the year 1599. Having signed a peace treaty with the Ottoman Empire, Mihai gained control of all fortifications on the Wallachian side of the Danube and was recognized by the Sultan as voivode of Wallachia. But despite these favorable peace terms that secured Mihai's southern border, trouble was brewing in the north. The scheming rulers of Transylvania and Moldavia were plotting to overthrow the Wallachian voivode. It was then that Mihai laid out his political plan of unifying the 3 principalities under his rule.
How's he gonna do that? How is he going to do that? Interesting.
As he allowed his army to regain strength after several months of campaigning, Mihai knew that the issue with the Ottomans was far from settled. However, the peace treaty allowed him enough time to address a growing problem to the north. The election of Andrew Bathory as Prince of Transylvania after his cousin Sigismund abdicated was most unfavorable for Mihai.
Oh yeah?
With the new prince enjoying support from Poland, Transylvania slipped into the sphere of influence of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, which in turn was friendly towards the Ottoman Empire. Seeking to impose suzerainty over the three Carpathian principalities, Andrew first arranged a marriage between his half-brother and a daughter of Jeremiah Movia, who was part of the pro-Polish party already ruling in Moldavia. This made the principality a vassal of Poland, whilst also being under suzerainty of Transylvania and paying tribute to Constantinople, all at the same time. This concept is known as condominium, a territory ruled by two or more sovereign powers. After securing Moldavia, Andrew then entered negotiations with the Ottoman Empire, asking for the confirmation of his hereditary rule and suzerainty over Wallachia, and began plotting to install a pretender, Jeremiah's younger brother Simeon Movia, on the Wallachian throne. The Ottomans supported this policy, deeming Mihai a dangerous opponent. If he were removed from power, it would be much easier for the Sultan to put a new pro-Ottoman voivode on the throne as a political puppet, who would again pay tribute and return all fortifications along the Danube to the Ottomans. Mihai now found himself surrounded by rulers who viewed him as a dangerous political obstacle, and it was in their political and economic...
So, yeah, apparently I'm wrong. But I thought the end of the last episode looked pretty promising for Mihai, you know? But, man, he's stuck in a hard place right here. I mean, he is Ottoman Empire wants him out of there. Like, the Polish, you know, kind of got control of Moldavia and Transylvania, I guess. And they kind of want Mihai to kind of join his land, kind of join the group pretty much. So he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. Like, he's gonna need some allies. So I'm looking towards Austria. I don't know what Austria's thoughts are on all this because they really haven't said nothing. So I'm assuming Mihai is gonna ask Austria, you know, for an alliance here. I think he's already got one with them. So, because I cannot see him doing this all on his own and fighting two different fronts by himself. So this is going to be really interesting to see how this plays out.
Him as a dangerous political obstacle, and it was in their political and economic interest to replace him. To offset an invasion from Transylvania and Moldavia that was certainly coming, the wily Wallachian voivode cunningly swore fealty to Andrew, which gave him time to make preparations of his own. A host of 13,000 troops was ordered to gather at Târgoviște, including 4,000 experienced mercenaries and haiduks, mostly Serbians, Bulgarians, and Albanians. Mihai then turned to Vienna to negotiate the much-needed political backing from Rudolf II, which gave his plan to invade Transylvania considerable legitimacy. The Holy Roman Emperor hadn't acknowledged Andrew's rule, and it was in his interest to help the Wallachian voivode's invasion, seeing it as a chance to regain suzerainty over Transylvania for the House of Habsburg. In the east, Mihai created...
I'm guessing, like, Polish and Austria aren't the best of friends because they're backing, like, opposite opponents right here. Which I guess makes sense anyway. If they're bordering each other, they probably, you know, have disagreements and they'd prefer to see the other one weaker. So I could probably see something else going on up here between Polish and Austria. But anyways, Mihai, Michael the Bray, he's got the backing from Austria, so he's not alone here, you know. So things are looking up, I think.
It's the Bannet of Bazot and Brela. In the east, Mihai created the Bannet of Bazot and Brela, and assigned a band to keep an eye and react to any activity on the Moldavian border. Then, during the first week of October, a messenger came from Transylvania, presenting a highly provocative and insolent ultimatum. By the power of his overlordship over Wallachia, Andrew Bathory ordered Mihai to take his entire family and leave the country. The Wallachian voivode simply sent the messenger on his way without a reply. There would be war.
I mean, come on, Andrew. Had to have known that he would say no to that. I guess he was expecting a whole heartbeat way. Yes, we're going to go to war. He denied that, so I don't know. That seemed like a waste of a care. I guess that's just I don't know. Andrew wanted like something set in stone that they were going to war. So hey, send this guy. If he denies it, we get to go to war. I don't know. This is funny though. There was no way Michael was stepping down. No way.
On his way without a reply. There would be war. Before the messenger could return to Andrew, Mihai already set off with his army from Târgoviște. In order to secure his back, the Wallachian voivode bribed Ottoman officials in Constantinople and moved through the Bazau Pass over the mountains. In choosing this route, he hoped to convince the Szekelys to join him against Andrew Bathory, who had stripped them of their old privileges. Declaring that he is attacking Transylvania on behalf of Rudolf II, and with the promise to have their freedoms restored, several thousand Szekely troops and a contingent of artillery came to Mihai's banner. Further military aid came from the Transylvanian Saxons, and reinforcements arrived from Oltenia, Mihai's power base. His army, now numbering around 20,000 men, marched towards the fortified city of Sibiu. The city was a highly important strategic point from where the rest of Transylvania could be controlled. To protect it from falling into Wallachian hands, Andrew drew up in front of the city walls an army around 16,000 strong and waited for Mihai.
Uh-oh, here we go. Selimbar, there's the name.
Neither of the two armies got much sleep during the early hours of October 18th. The rain turned and stirred up ground in both camps into a sticky quagmire, and the howling cold mountain wind swept down across the flat plain. But finally, some hours after daybreak, the miserable weather cleared and the ground hardened under the warm morning sun, as the two armies arrayed opposite each other just south of Sibiu, near the village of Selimbar. Out from the Transylvanian ranks rode out a figure with the papal standard above him. It was a diplomat by the name of Malaspina.
Okay.
On the behest of Andrew Bathory, he tried to exert his authority as a papal representative to convince Mihai to retreat. But the Wallachian voivode refused. Incredibly, despite facing the Wallachian army across the field, Andrew was still confident he could negotiate Mihai's abdication and impose himself as the ruler of Wallachia. He only really took Mihai's military preparations seriously when Malaspina came back with a negative answer. At around 9 o'clock in the morning...
So Andrew still thought, well, yeah, he's going to step down for me. Like, wow. Pretty interesting. Like, when you get armies are right across from each other, like, he still thought, I guess, you know, maybe negotiate for money or, I guess, land where he can, like, retire on for his family. Interesting. So, like, it doesn't seem like Andrew's head was in the game right here, you know, like, back in his mind, it's like, oh, I'll just march out here and he'll step down. So, like, strategy probably wasn't at the forefront, you know, in his mind right now.
At around 9 o'clock in the morning, the battle began with an intense exchange of artillery fire.
Damn.
Mihai's 18 guns, although of higher caliber, initially had the wrong shot and were ineffective. Andrew, meanwhile, unleashed his 50 guns.
50.
He tried to overwhelm the Wallachians with repeated massive volleys of cannon fire. However, when he arrayed his army earlier in the day, Mihai ordered his troops to spread out, anticipating a heavy bombardment from the numerically superior Transylvanian artillery, thereby minimizing losses from enemy fire. In contrast, Andrew arrayed his troops shoulder to shoulder in a typical battle formation, and once Mihai's guns switched to the correct shot, the Wallachian artillery fire tore through the Transylvanian ranks.
Makes sense.
The stark contrast in leadership capabilities started to become evident, as Mihai's 18 guns outmatched the 50 cannon Andrew had at his disposal. The Transylvanian prince took heavy losses, with many of his densely packed troops killed and maimed in the artillery exchange. A light rain finally halted the prolonged bombardment, and Mihai took the initiative straight away. On the left, he ordered Starina Novak to lead the attack with his experienced Serbian mercenaries and Haiduks, along with Hungarian and Cossack mercenaries on the left wing, commanded by the Ban of Oltenia. On the right, Aga Leka led contingents of Serbians and Moldavians on a delayed charge, while the Wallachians followed in the second line. Mihai slowly advanced with the reserve, formed by his personal retinue, court troops, and another contingent of Cossacks. Seeing the onrushing Starina Novak, Andrew's right braced for...
Cossack, that's the same Cossack. Am I thinking about or am I thinking about somebody different? The Cossacks from the when Napoleon invaded Russia. Russia had these, Cossacks, man, that rode horses and like were ruthless and stuff. Are those the same ones that are in Mihai's army right now? Like, not the same ones, but like kind of the same thing. I know it's different time periods and all, but I'm just asking.
Seeing the onrushing Starina Novak, Andrew's right braced for impact. Mihai tasked the Serbian mercenaries with punching through the enemy line. But the Transylvanian troops briefly held the enemy from breaking through and managed to keep their formation, although they gradually gave ground. On the other side of the battlefield, the fighting line shifted back and forth as the savage stalemate dragged on for a couple of hours.
Like 'em.
Nevertheless, the Transylvanian line held. On the left, Mihai's reliance on Starina Novak paid off, as the unrelenting push of Serbian shock troops carved open the enemy line.
There you go.
Hungarian mounted units poured through the opening, as the Transylvanian prince failed to react in time to plug the gap. But one of Andrew's captains, Gaspar Cornish, took the initiative and surged forward with his contingent. His quick reaction stabilized the line, all but halting Starina Novak's push. By now, the battle entered its third hour. Mihai's exhausted troops on the left could not withstand the fresh enemy reinforcements, and they fell back. Gaspar spurred the men on across the entire battle line to push forward. The Transylvanian counterattack had begun. Some of the Hungarian noblemen at Andrew's side began to cheer, thinking that they had the enemy on the run. Mihai sprang into action, seeing that the second line of Wallachian infantry wasn't able to stem the tide. He knew that the fighting retreat of his troops could turn into a rout at any moment. Personally leading the charge, the Wallachian voivode slammed into Gaspar's contingent with his personal retinue and the Cossacks. He signaled his court troops to wheel about and focused his own attack on pinning down Gaspar's best troops in close quarters to prevent them from covering the flank.
There you go.
Meanwhile, on the Wallachian right, Aga Leka was finding it increasingly difficult to keep his troops in line as gaps began opening up between Moldavian contingents.
Dang.
But as Mihai's court troops swung around the enemy line, Transylvanian troops on the right lost heart and began fleeing to avoid being enveloped.
What?
Instead of trying to rally the troops, Andrew Bathory fled the field with his retinue. The retreat caused a chain reaction, and soon the rest of the army followed.
What is Andrew doing? Like, get your butt in there. Like, sitting back there, probably like a pina colada or something, having a drink and just watching it go down. Like, dude, like, you had a chance. You run in there and you lead your troops, man. Because you guys are starting to, back off, man. You got to pick them back up. You're the leader. Get your butt in the middle of everything, and that you can have. That might be a totally different outcome. But you just sit back there and like, oh no, they're retreating. I need to go away too. I don't know. This seemed like I don't know, a coward thing to do. I'm sorry. Like maybe he ends up being a great leader, and you guys are gonna like kill me in the comments here, but look at this. Mihai joined the battle when he saw things going south for his troops. He jumped in there, and it changed it. His guys started pushing back, and even before then, Andrew's, I don't know, the other guy where Mihai had an opening, they're about to punch through. Andrew's leader took the initiative and plugged that hole, and they started pushing Mihai's guys back. And Andrew, I don't know, I guess he doesn't have any experience. I guess they said that, so he doesn't know what he's doing. I don't know, maybe he thought this was like a game or something. I don't know. It's annoying though. Like, obviously I'm going for Michael the Brave and his situation, but when I see stuff like that, it's like, come on, man, let's get an even battle. Let's get like two like really good leaders back, clash right here. But no. And like once like your troops start like losing faith and everything, and they start running back, it's over, man. It's over. They see your leader, their leader, back away, and of course they're gonna start backing away, man. Anyways, let's see how this plays out.
Caused a chain reaction, and soon the rest of the army followed. During the subsequent pursuit, Mihai's troops killed several thousand enemy troops, taking many prominent nobles prisoner, among them Gaspar Cornish.
Yeah, Gaspar Cornish. Wasn't that the guy who plugged the hole? Like, man, the good leader right there. He knew what was going on. He knew what needed to be done, and now he's prisoner because his dang captain back here, Andrew, decides to retreat. Man, I wouldn't be surprised, man, if some of these like leaders here, or get peed off at Andrew and decide to switch sides. Maybe, I don't know. I don't think so, because obviously that's their land back there, in Transylvania. But I guess you take these guys as prisoners for ransom, because Mihai's going to need some money, so we'll see.
Prisoner, among them Gaspar Cornish. News of the defeat quickly reached the Transylvanian capital. The nobility met to decide their next course of action, and when Mihai triumphantly entered the city a few days later, they elected the Wallachian voivode as the Prince of Transylvania. 2 days later, the new ruler assembled the Transylvanian Diet, demanding that the estates swear loyalty to Emperor Rudolf, then to himself and to his son. He now began calling himself King of Transylvania and Wallachia.
Wow.
Meanwhile, Andrew's troops dispersed to avoid the wrath of the Wallachians. With his army in tatters, the dethroned prince fled northeast with only a handful of followers, intending to cross into Moldavia, where he hoped to receive support.
Like, are you really surprised only a handful of people, like, followed you? Like, yeah.
However, as he entered one of the Carpathian mountain passes, Sekeli shepherds recognized and killed him in an ambush. Mihai knew that Andrew's unexpected demise was most fortunate, for had he managed to cross the mountains, the support from Moldavia and Poland would have been enough to attempt to retake the throne of Transylvania. And it was clear to Mihai that, with Poland's backing, Jeremiah's scheming diplomatic and military opposition would continue to pose a serious threat to his rule. Seeing no other way than to overthrow the Moldavian voivode, Mihai began planning an invasion. He met with Polish envoys to begin negotiations, whereby he would recognize the Polish king as his sovereign in exchange for the Moldavian crown and the recognition of hereditary rights of his male heirs over the three principalities. Negotiations weren't fruitful, but on the 14th of April 1600, his troops nevertheless entered Moldavia. The invasion was met with only minor resistance, as Jeremiah was caught completely by surprise. Before even attempting to mount a resistance, he fled north with his followers. The fast conquest was facilitated by the fact that, due to the Ottoman ban on building defenses, Moldavia did not have any fortresses that could slow down the invading army, with the exception of the Hotin fortress in the north. But the cause for the fast breakdown of Jeremiah's rule was the dissatisfaction of the Moldavian army, with many troops simply deserting him. Within 3 weeks, Mihai caught up with him at Hotin. In the castle, Movia took refuge with his family and a handful of boyars. Much like the majority of the troops throughout the country, the Moldavian soldiers in the fortress deserted and joined Mihai. Left with only a small Polish garrison, on June 11th, Jeremiah snuck out of Hotin under the cover of darkness. Mihai's warring ways united for the first time the principalities of Wallachia, Transylvania, and Moldavia under a Romanian ruler. But a new dynasty controlling this new and potentially powerful kingdom has upset the balance of power in the region. The neighboring states were bound to interfere, and Mihai would soon face the enormous challenge of keeping his young kingdom together. If you want to start your own animated history YouTube channel, click on the link in the description to watch Evan's class on how to make...
That's it. I mean, that one flew by. I only felt like it was like 10 minutes long right there, but, you know, that was the whole video. Wow, he got a whole kingdom to himself now, man. Big kingdom. But yeah, he took over Transylvania and Mordovia. Wow. Wow, like that victory. Obviously, I already throughout that battle already explained why, you know, how he won. So definitely congrats to Michael the Brave, Mihai, man. He's kicking butt, and he didn't even have to battle anything to take over Mordovia. Like that king just had nothing ready, but like I guess it's not partially his fault. He wasn't allowed to have any defenses, and so there was nothing stopping Mihai from just walking in there and taking what he wanted. You know, he had the bigger army, and I'm kind of surprised. I guess they didn't have enough time. You know, the Polish didn't kind of step in with an army and kind of help Moldovia and everything. And but now I see Mihai take over basically like two countries and make two kingdoms and make one giant kingdom for himself. So I would think Austria is going to look at him as being like a threat because Austria wanted Transylvania to begin with, and now not only does Mihai have that, he has hit Mordovia as well. So you might still have a battle on like two fronts because the Ottoman Empire, they're gonna. I'm actually surprised that the Ottomans didn't like step in while. I guess they didn't have enough time to rally troops, and they were still busy at war over, you know, with Austria. But you know, it seemed like the best time to fight somebody is when they're already fighting somebody else. So, you know, I'm surprised they didn't really step in there and come from the south and get them. But yeah, Polish now, they're going to be kind of worried. Austria's going to be kind of worried. Ottoman Empire, they already don't like them. So Mihai's really got to get some troops together, get the money together, and he can't take them all on. So I'm sure he'll make some truces, like maybe with Austria, and make some friends and stuff like that, because he can't take them all on. Like, if he combines forces with Austria, then I think he's good. If he combines forces with one of these three, I think he's fine. But if he doesn't, I think this kingdom's gonna fall. Not really sure, but that was really cool to see him, man. Like, at one point during this, like, he was on like the verge, like the beginning of this, like they wanted him to step down, hey, and leave, and by the end of this, he's taken over everything. So it's kind of amazing how it turns out. Yeah, Andrew, he didn't step down, dude. He didn't run away like you did. That still annoys me, man. Oh God, but Michael LeBray kicking butt as usual. And I really don't know what to expect in the next episode. I really don't. Let me see here. Let me see here, guys. We're looking to the future right now. Where's number 4? Is that that's number 4? Battle of Masalo. Dominion struggles. I don't know if that means his Dominion struggles, or I don't even know where that's at. It's on the map right now. I couldn't even see that. I don't know. I don't know where that's at. I don't know if that's his Dominion or their Dominion. I don't know, but definitely looking forward to that one. Uh, this is cool. I'm really liking the series. This is cool stuff. But anyway, guys, please hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't yet. I know most of you are probably not even watching me anymore after the video. You probably already clicked away. But if you are still watching, you are awesome. You're hardcore, subscribers and all that good stuff. So I really appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing. And yeah, the unification. I guess I should read the title. It says Unification. About some of the, so I guess that's the unification. His kingdom, right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like, subscribe, and yeah, I'll catch you guys in future videos. And yeah, I think that's about it, guys. Yeah, I love you guys. You guys are amazing. And yeah, peace. Have a good night, good day, or whatever time it is for you. See you guys later.